Day before yesterday, my doctor's office sent me to the ER when I called to make an appointment because it was getting worse. I think it was just kind of the worst before I started to get better. I got my COVID test results back and they were negative. I also had a full chest scan, CAT scan at the hospital that showed that I had mild pneumonia. That wasn't why they did the CAT scan, but I'll get to that. So what I had was pneumonia. For anyone who's just coming in on this video, and I'll just kind of give you the recap that I give to all the doctors so far because I've gone over this so many times. Started with an asthma attack a little bit before Thanksgiving that I just thought was an asthma attack, although it did make me a little bit suspicious because my asthma is usually kind of well controlled, and it was a bad asthma attack. It was an asthma attack where I woke up just really disoriented. It woke me up in the middle of the night. It took me like 10 minutes to realize what was actually happening, grab my inhaler and use it. It mostly worked. I was still coughing, but I could breathe. And the next day I felt fine. Well, not really fine. I had a really bad migraine the day before Thanksgiving, and it was enough that we have a neighbor that we're really close to, and she's wonderful. And the day before Thanksgiving, she had called. She had a lot of family that was traveling, and we don't go out, me and the kids don't go out, and she doesn't go out and see anyone. And so, you know, usually in those circumstances, I probably would have felt more comfortable. That asthma attack it made me feel really, really uncomfortable, and I really, really didn't want to get her sick. And Paul does go out and go to work. And she said she wasn't worried about us getting her sick because she knows how careful we are. But I said, you know, because she thought someone from her family might be bringing food over. If no one's bringing food over, I can bring you food. But I just have a really bad feeling. I'm really afraid that I might have something, and I don't want to get you sick. Because if I got you sick, I would never forgive myself. I just had this really bad asthma attack, and I just have a really bad feeling, you know, maybe it's nothing. And she's like, oh, it's probably just a cold. It's probably nothing. I said, yeah, it is, but I just don't feel comfortable. And I said, you know, let me know if they don't end up getting dinner over to you, because I will get a dinner over to you, because I knew. And from then on, I was like, I'm going to be super careful when I'm cooking. So at that point, I did kind of just have this little question in my head, but the headache just went on, and it went on for that whole entire week. And I still wasn't thinking really COVID other than that moment. So in my head, there was kind of a question about the asthma attack, but the headache went on and I just thought migraine. And I wasn't really that worried about it, but I also wasn't going out. I just had that question on Thanksgiving Day. And we came around a full week to the next Wednesday. And that was when the kids got sick for like a day and I got sicker. I started feeling faint every time I stood up. I started getting really nauseous. And that lasted for a couple of days, and then it got worse on Thursday, and then it got much worse on Friday, and then I started to cough just a tiny bit, not like a bad cough. I told Paul that night that I thought I needed to get tested the next day. So the next morning I went to urgent care. And when I went to urgent care, they did the COVID test, which ultimately finally came back negative. They also were concerned about the possibility of pneumonia. I was having a lot of pain here. I'd had a sore throat for a little bit, which like the second day, which had gone away, but it hurt a ton up here. Then it especially hurt like right here, which is, I think of this as my pneumonia place, because when I get pneumonia, it hurts right here. I have asthma, and that makes it more likely for me to get pneumonia. I get bronchitis every year. I swear, I feel like it would probably be a safe estimate to say I probably have had bronchitis 40 times in my life. And now that having had pneumonia this time, I'm pretty sure that I had pneumonia a couple of years ago. So I think this is the second time confirmed that I've had pneumonia, but I think I've had pneumonia 3 times now, because the pain was exactly like it was a couple of years ago when I was really sick and had a fever of 105. And I ended up getting a Z-Pak after a couple months for a sinus infection, and that's when it finally went away. And they did the chest x-ray and said pneumonia. And so that is, you're all caught up on what led to this, and said if it got any worse to go to the hospital, and it did get worse, and I tried to hold out and it wasn't getting better. It was hurting more up here. Instead of walking to the car for it to hurt and having to chase after Tessie when she got a little bit ahead of me, it was hurting just from walking to the bathroom, walking back to bed. And that's when my doctor's office said, like, yeah, no, you don't need an appointment, telehealth appointment with us, you need to go to the ER. And so I did. When I got there, it was really quiet in the ER waiting room. I think because they're getting people back so quickly. But so they took me back very quickly, and They did an EKG, which was abnormal, which didn't surprise me. I don't think I've ever had a normal EKG in my entire life, which has led to different things at different times. That's gotten me like sent to the cardiologist twice. It's gotten me sent to the ER before when I've been at urgent care, but in this case I was at the ER, and it never turns out to be anything. It just happens. In this case, it ended up being a reason that they did like a bunch of, because I guess COVID can lead to blood clots. They wanted to make sure there weren't any pulmonary embolism type risks and blood clots, and they did some blood tests to make sure that there wasn't anything wrong with my heart, and that came back normal. There were some liver tests that were abnormal and some kidney thing, and my CO2 levels were low that I have to see my doctor about when I can get in to see him. But all of the heart stuff was normal and there were no blood clots, and so that was good. At the ER, they thought that I had COVID. They said that it was basically like classically presenting as COVID, and they were pretty much certain. The results still weren't back at that point, and so they said basically everything had been done. I had had the steroid shot in my hip, which really still hurt at that point, at the urgent care, and I was on a course of steroids that I'm still on. I just finished the antibiotics today, so they sent me home. And that night I actually felt the worst I'd felt so far. My temperature spiked and I was getting really, really nervous. When I went to sleep, I felt horrible, and then I woke up and my fever had broken and I could actually breathe. Like take deep breaths without it feeling like something was holding me back. Each day since then, this is the second day since that, and I feel considerably better. I get tired very easily from even sitting up for too long or walking around for too long, and I get breathless super fast and lightheaded still, but it's definitely getting better. But I remember the last time I had pneumonia really badly, the time that I had pneumonia the worst, was when I was a senior in high school, and that time it took me weeks before I was like up and about and could walk across a room without being totally out of breath. So this is much faster than that, because I can walk across a room now without being totally winded. This is not as bad as that time, which I'm really grateful for, because like I was able to I cleaned most of the kitchen yesterday, and I kind of cleaned the school area a little bit today, and slowly I'm getting things kind of back under control, little by little, just doing little amounts of things to kind of get things organized and try to get back in the swing of things. This is definitely, again, I said this before, this is not the December I planned. This December is going to be way smaller than I planned on it being, but that's okay. We're healthy, and that's what matters. I was really surprised when the COVID test came back negative. Obviously, we're not going out anywhere or anything like that. I was kind of hoping I was through it and I'd survived it and this was it. And then when I saw I hadn't had it, no. If this was like the flu, that caused this pneumonia, I really don't want to get COVID and have to go through. I just, yeah, kind of speed of sickness for 2020 for me, 2020, 2021 winter, because this one was already kind of a doozy. Anyways, so that's it. That is the update. I am feeling better. I have no plans to really leave the house or change anything at this point. Just buckling down for December, hoping that I maybe feel strong enough to like get a tree and put up some lights and do some Christmassy things, because it's feeling very non-Christmassy around here for the 9th. I think today's the 9th. Yeah, anyways, that's the update. Everyone here is doing well. Paul's feeling good, the kids are feeling good, I'm recovering. Thank you to everyone who asked and who has prayed for us and left all those kind comments. I appreciate them. That is it for today. If you like this video, we'd love it if you give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in all things autism, we'd love it if you'd hit subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.